Yarosel, the multipreneur. Today is Monday. So, you know, that means it is a Money Monday. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to get started in approximately 2 minutes. That is enough time for you to grab your lunch, your water. We get started at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 12 p.m. Central Standard Time and 6 p.m. for our friends that are in the UK. So I hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving. I did. Very relaxing. I just love being with my family. So there you have it. I'm really grateful because I know a lot of people do not get the luxury of being with family or even enjoying family. And some of you have lost family, as we have. But I'm so grateful for the time with my family. We get this show started at 1 p.m. So we got 1 minute to go. Take some time to comment and let me know where you're watching from if you happen to be watching this on the replay. But we are live. And I'm so glad you're joining me today. Very much so. Happy Monday, Veranda. I hope you had a beautiful Thanksgiving. I did. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, you guys, guess what time it is? I have 1 p.m. So let's get this party started. It's Yarosel, the multipreneur. It is Monday, so you know that means it's a Money Monday. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Let me tell you something. Every single just because you're blood with somebody, it don't make you kin. So shout out to everybody who actually had a wonderful time with their family. For those of you who have lost family, we continue to keep the memories in our heart and make some new traditions. All right. So today, let me first give a shout out to everybody who's watching. What's going on? Thank you. Hi. Good morning, Jesse. Everybody that is watching today, that is watching live, shout out to you. Shout out to those of you on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Shout out to the TikTok family. Those of you who watch Spotify, video, Anchor, Google Podcasts. What's going on, everybody? I'm so glad to be with you guys today. So here we talk about money. We talk about money God's way. And today, our topic is from welfare to wealth, how to overcome money failures. Let me just tell you right now, I am super excited about this because I feel like I am more than a conqueror in this area. I have been at the low of the low, and I feel like I've been at high, not the highest of the highs. A girl is still reaching and striving, but I know what it's like to be low. And so I really want to talk about that, especially as we're moving into holiday time. That can be a really tough time for everybody. Also, I just want to tell you guys, as you can see, your girl got on her purple lipstick. Why do we wear purple in November? We wear purple to support those people who have suffered from or lost somebody with pancreatic cancer. You guys know that my father died 7 years ago from pancreatic cancer. He passed away in October of 2015. And so this is our last Monday in November. So I wear my purple for my dad, Tyrone Bruce Davis. And I want you to put on your purple. We only got a couple more days in November, and show some support for those people who have dealt with pancreatic cancer or who have suffered from it. Thank you so much. All right. So how do we start off Money Monday, y'all? We start off Money Monday with a scripture. So let me just start off by telling you this. Here today, we're going to talk about being an overcomer. And we're talking about money failures because, you know, we talk about money on this channel. But I want you to know that the things that we talk about today, these principles, these things can be applied to all kinds of things that you need to overcome. Let me just tell you that. And so I want you to take your notes, or you're going to have to go back and watch the replay, but I want you to know that you can overcome any situation, okay? Not just money, but any money failure, but any type of situation. So let me just tell you, I could stop the broadcast right now after I give y'all this scripture, but that ain't how it goes because we still got some stuff to do. But it is so timely and such an indicator that you will overcome any type of money failure. Okay. So I'm going to read it to you. It is 1 John 5, 4 and 5. It says, for whatever is born of God overcomes the world. Okay. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is he who overcomes the world? But he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Basically, what that means is you have the victory. You are victorious. I have the victory. I am victorious. Don't ever think for 1 minute that you are not victorious. And even though you go through trouble and even though you have to overcome something, it does not mean that you are not an overcomer. I just proved it to you right then and there. But we're going to go ahead and get the tips and stuff, that practical stuff, that we need to apply to our own lives so that we can overcome money failures. I titled this From Welfare to Wealth because I know what it's like to have been in like a situation where I have really struggled and I was not a prideful person. I know some people, they're really prideful when it comes to money situations. Like they'll be struggling and they refuse to go get help. They refuse to go get, they'll refuse to ask people for help. And I understand what that's like. I have been in situations to where, I didn't want to ask for any help or anything like that. But let me just tell you something. Sometimes you got to put that pride aside and you have to go for what you know. Okay. So there is not one person on this earth who does right all the time, who doesn't make any mistakes, who don't mess up. So I don't want anybody to be feeling like that you're the only person who has dealt with things. And anytime people try to make you feel like you are the only people who have or only person who has made mistakes, or they act like they've never made mistakes, it's totally not true. Matter of fact, the Bible tells us this. Where Yes, so the scripture for that is Ecclesiastes 7:20. So Ecclesiastes 7:20 is where you can find in the Bible that teaches us that nobody has done the right thing all the time. So don't let people make you feel like they got it all figured out. They do not. So how do we overcome money failure? So first and foremost, I want you to strengthen your mindset. So number one is strengthen your mindset. Now, let me tell you, I did a video on YouTube. It was called the Private Thought Series. And the first thing that we talked about in a Private Thought Series is that my money is funny and I feel ashamed. And let me just tell you that there are so many people who deal with money situations and they feel ashamed. So what I want to do is I'm going to post. Now, you may not be able to see this. For those of you who are on YouTube and Facebook, this is going to be a hot link for you guys. For those of you on LinkedIn, you can see it. But for those of you who are on TikTok or any of the other platforms, Instagram or whatever, you guys are going to have to go back and catch the replay. But go back to that video. It was called Private Thought Series. Go back to my channel, Private Thought Series, and you listen to part 1. This will help to strengthen your money mindset. And let me just tell you, I was on fire that day because it is power packed to get you in the right mindset, to have an understanding that you have got to first focus and work on your mind when it comes to handling and overcoming money failure. Okay. Number two, don't compare yourself to others. Let me just tell you, I have done this before in the past. I know people do this sometimes. Sometimes you look at what the next person has and you feel like, oh man, I wish I had this. Or you look at, and sometimes you can look at what somebody has and it can encourage you to really go after a goal or something like that. You know, sometimes you can look at somebody and you're like, dang, they did it. I can do it too. But at the end of the day, don't get into a habit of comparing yourself to other people. For those of you who listen to like old hip hop, there's a rapper, her name was Eve, and she said in her lyrics, I do what they can't do, I just be me. And sometimes I feel like we rob ourselves of our greatest gift that God has given us, and that is ourselves and the power that we have within ourselves. And so I want you to really focus on loving yourself enough to say, you know what, there are gifts within me that can't be like anybody else. I don't need to compare myself to anybody. I'm great within myself. Okay. Number two, don't compare yourself to others. Number three, you have to own your own stuff. You have to take a deep reflection about yourself and say, okay, I got to really stop, go deeper, get a deep reflection of what's going on in my life. This is what is happening in my life, and make some changes. My pastor said, Dennis Rouse, well, he's a senior pastor. He was a founder pastor. He's not the current pastor of my church right now. He's kind of like moved to a different level. But he said, either you fall forward or you fall backwards. I'll never forget that. And I'm going to tell you today what he taught me about either you fall forward or you fall backwards. Because here's the thing, you're going to fall. You're going to fall, but you have a choice in how you fall and what you do with what is given to you. So the first thing that you can do is you could blame other people, or you can accept responsibility. Sometimes we get into the habit of, oh, this person did it. If it wasn't for my mom and them and how they raised me, if it wasn't for this place that I'm living at, you know, you can blame other people or you can accept responsibility. It's as simple as that. Think about it. We've been doing that from the beginning of time. Like, think about all the way back in Genesis, way back in the biblical times, when after God came and was asking Adam, yo, what happened? Like, what did y'all do? How did you know that you were naked? And what did y'all do? Well, what did Adam say? He was like, it was that wife you gave me. It was her, homegirl. You know what I'm saying? Blame others, or you can accept responsibility. When it comes to money failures, you have to accept responsibility. The second thing you can do in falling forward or falling backwards, you can make the same mistakes or you can learn from your mistakes. I feel like we all have lessons in everything that we do. So you have the choice. You can keep doing the same stuff over and over and over, which we all know is what Albert Einstein said, that is insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Yeah, no, that's called being insane. Or you can learn from your mistakes. And when you learn from your mistakes, like I have said several times on any other show, sometimes you have to go and get help. Sometimes you don't know how. Sometimes you got to break the cycle. You got to do whatever you have to do to get yourself to where you are learning from the mistake. And sometimes you have to take away the pride and go and ask for help, or think about a person that you know who has overcome through that situation, and ask them how they made it through. Sometimes, guess what you can do? You can read a book. You can Google a book about blah, and then it can really help you, and nobody can even know that you went through the thing. The other things that you can do, you can live in fear of failure, or you can look at failure as a part of life. And some people, they never do anything because they're too afraid to fail. Well, I'm not going to start that business because I'm scared that it ain't going to work out. Well, let me just tell you, as an entrepreneur, there are so many things that I have failed at. There are so many. When I was getting my securities license, oh my God, those were the hardest tests I've ever taken in my life. And I have taken SAT, Praxis, GACE, passed all these things. That test was hard. I did not pass. I did not. And I remember just, oh my gosh. And I remember I was crying so hard. And the lady who I was doing an apprenticeship with, she said, Yarcel, majority of people do not pass that test. Something is that you need to get over yourself. And I could not, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Even days in my business where I'm like, I am not winning in this, you know? And also I can look back at all the things that I have done over the course of my life. And I failed at it, but you keep moving forward. You fall forward. You can worry about how people will view you, or you can focus on how God views you. Now, let me just tell you something. This is huge. I have so many people who are so concerned. Like when I talk to them, they're so concerned about what this person is going to think, how people will view them if they do this or if they do that. Let me tell you something. You do not need to worry about that. Nobody is perfect. Everybody makes money mistakes. You can't focus on, you know, how other people are going to view you. You have to focus on how God views you, and it is as simple as that. And when you are focused on how God views you, it totally changes your perspective on everything. I never forget, for those of you, some of you may not know this, but um I had my son, my oldest son, let me say that. I had my oldest son when I was in high school. I was 17. And I never forget, we were so, my mom was worried about how people would view me. She didn't want anybody to know. She was afraid that people were going to judge me and treat me different, especially because I was an excellent student. I was a scholar student. I was a athlete, who was going to like, I was good enough in my sports to go to the next level. So we knew that I was going to the next level in college. She was so afraid of how people were going to judge me and look at me for being a teenage mom. And let me just tell you, in hindsight is 2020. And when she and I talk about this now, we really see where we missed the mark on that. And sometimes we may make mistakes, and we have been dogged by people. Like, how many of you have been dogged by somebody? And so we know what it's like sometimes when you reveal a secret to somebody. I personally have had people take some of my lowest moments and throw them back up in my face when I, um you know like, I talked to them about, they knew about it in confidence, or maybe they're the only person who knew and they threw it back up in my face. That has happened to me. So, but what strengthened me, is I learned about what God says about me. That's why now when people say certain things to me about myself, if it don't line up with the way God views me, I don't even pay attention to it. I'm like, okay, because I know if I can't find it in God's word about me, like, you can't tell me that I'm a loser when God tells me I'm victorious. You can't tell me that I'm never going to bounce back when God tells me that I'm an overcomer, that I'm more than a conqueror. You can't tell me that I'm not loved when God tells me that he loves me. So it's as simple as that. Focus on how God views you. Now, some people, what they do is they allow their failure to define them, or they allow their failures to grow them. No matter what has happened to you, you are not your failure. It's just an event that happened. It's something that happened. Okay. You didn't pass the test. You got evicted. Your car got repossessed. Your home was foreclosed on. Whatever it is, the failures do not define you. Some of you may be listening right now, your bank account is overdrawn. The failures don't define you, but you have to allow the failures to grow you and make you into a better person. Okay? Now, we're almost done, y'all. You have to understand that you can have a give up attitude, or you can have an overcoming attitude. And some people right away, as soon as something happens, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, they just give up, on, they throw in the towel. They're ready to just quit. They're ready to leave the face of the earth. But you can overcome any situation and get that in your head. I can bounce back from this type of situation. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I really love hearing when I read the Bible is when Paul was saying in the book of Romans, what then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? And you have to stand on that. You have to stand on that. If God is for you, who can be against you. And if you go down a little bit further in Romans, just a little bit further in that same chapter, he says, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? As it is written, for your sake we face death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. So let me tell you something. You're going to be faced with all what you're going through right now. You're going to get through it. I promise you, you're going to get through it. But guess what? Something else may come down later on down the line, but you admit you are more than a conqueror and you are going to overcome. The last thing I want to tell you is that you have to develop an attitude of never giving up. Let me just tell you, there are so many times when, especially being with the agency, I'm like, okay, this is rough, especially, and for those of you who are watching for the first time, you may not know this, but I own Advent Insurance and Financial Solutions. And being an agency owner is tough. It is a tough job. It is not easy all the time. It is very rewarding. I'm really grateful to have my business, but it is not easy. But you have to develop an attitude that you're never going to give up. Let me just tell you right now, you are at one stage, but wealth is on the other side for you. And it's just a matter of you making up in your mind that you are going to be an overcomer. Let me just give you just a couple more encouragement before we get off today. You know, Proverbs 10:22 tells us the blessing of the Lord makes a person rich and he adds no sorrow to it. And I just want to tell you too, before I go, that God will generously supply and provide all that you need. And then you will always have everything you need and have plenty left over to share with others. How do I know? It's in 2 Corinthians 9:8. And I know some of you are like, I don't feel that way right now, but trust me, you will. Just make it up in your mind, like I said, that you are going to strengthen your money mindset. Go back, watch the video, Private Thought Series Part 1. My money is funny and I feel ashamed. I want you to go back. It is going to strengthen you to your core. Number 2, do not compare yourself to other people. You don't have time to compare yourself to other people. That's just not some solid advice that I'm giving you. You know, we ourselves said don't. No, the Bible tells you to 2 Corinthians 10:12. Don't compare yourself to other people. Own your stuff, you guys. Remember, you're going to fall forward or you're going to fall backwards. You're going to not blame others. You're going to take responsibility. You're not going to repeat the same mistakes. You're going to learn from your mistakes. You're not going to live in fear of failure. You realize that failure is a part of life, but what are you? You are an overcomer. You're not going to worry about how other people view you. You're going to only focus on how God views you. You are not going to allow your failures to define you. You are only going to allow your failures to grow you. We do not give up. We have an overcoming attitude. Okay? And we will always remember that we are going to make it. What is your name? Your name is Victory, and my name is Victory as well. I hope this encouraged you today, especially as we're moving into the holidays, y'all. Don't get caught up in the hype and feeling like you have to do all of these things and go into debt and all of that stuff for the holidays. Don't even do all of that. Don't even do it. Get up, back away from the Amazon button right now. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want you to visit my site at IamTheMultipreneur.com. For those of you, I would love for you to come on over and join me on Instagram at IamTheMultipreneur. Follow me on TikTok at Yaracell. Yes. And if you need the budget spreadsheet, I want you to email me at gmail.com. I'm getting ready actually to take the budget spreadsheet and make it to where it's an automatic download. I feel like the Lord is telling me to do that so that you guys can just go to the website and automatically get the budget spreadsheet right off the rip. I'm going to try to get that done this week. And if it's not up this week, somebody send me a message and remind me. But I promise I'm going to try to get that up for you so that you can have easy and quick access to it. Remember, if you don't have your journal from Red to Black Weekly Financial Journal. You can get that journal at IamTheMultipreneur.com. You can use the code SAVE5 and it'll give you $5 off the journal. And if you happen to have Amazon cards, you can, like a gift card or something, you can get the journal from Red to Black Weekly Financial Journal. You can get it on Amazon as well, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. All right, you guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful week on purpose. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon and have a wonderful day.